Welcome, seekers, to Mysterium Philosophicum, where the veils between worlds grow thin and ancient wisdom whispers through the corridors of time. Today we descend into the labyrinth of a mind that dared to peer beyond the abyss of conventional thought. A philosopher who became both destroyer and creator, prophet and madman. Prepare yourself for a journey that will challenge everything you believe about reality, morality, and the very nature of existence itself. Picture, if you will, a madman running through the marketplace of human consciousness, lantern in hand, crying out in the clear morning air, "God is dead! God is dead! And we have killed him!" This is not mere blasphemy, dear seeker. This is the first clarion call of the greatest mystery school that Western civilization has ever produced, though it was disguised as philosophy, hidden in plain sight within the writings of Friedrich Nietzsche. For nearly 2 millennia, humanity had dwelt in what the ancients called the Cave of Shadows. But in the 19th century, a solitary figure emerged from the German forests, part philosopher, part mystic, part destroyer of worlds. He came not with answers, but with a hammer to shatter the idols of the mind. What if I told you that Nietzsche's writings contain the same esoteric teachings found in the mystery schools of Eleusis? That his Zarathustra walks the same path as the Hermetic hierophants? That his philosophy is, in truth, a complete system of spiritual transformation, a roadmap for the transmutation of human consciousness itself? Tonight we unlock the hidden door. Tonight we discover that the man who declared the death of God was actually pointing the way to our own divinity. God is dead, Nietzsche proclaimed in The Gay Science. But what died truly? Not the infinite mystery that mystics call the divine, but rather the anthropomorphic projection, the celestial tyrant who demanded submission and promised salvation to the meek. This is the first initiation, beloved seeker. Before the temple of the self can be built, the false temples must fall. The Gnostics called this kenosis, the emptying. The alchemists knew it as the nigredo, the blackening, the necessary dissolution. When Nietzsche wrote, "What does not kill me makes me stronger," he was describing the initiate's first trial. The death of external authority is not catastrophe, it is liberation. It is the moment when the soul realizes it must become its own light in the darkness. When you gaze long into an abyss, Nietzsche warned, the abyss also gazes into you. This is no mere aphorism. It is the description of the most crucial phase in the initiate's journey. The abyss is that primordial darkness that exists before creation, the void of the Kabbalists, the chaos of the Greeks. But here lies the secret that only the initiated understand. The abyss is not something external to be feared. It is the infinite potential within your own consciousness. In Beyond Good and Evil, Nietzsche speaks of those rare souls who can dance on the edge of abysses. These are not the reckless, but the transformed ones who have discovered that what appears as emptiness is actually the fullness of all possibilities. The abyss gazes back because you are the abyss. You are the infinite looking into itself. In the depths of his solitude, Nietzsche birthed Thus Spoke Zarathustra, not merely a book, but a living transmission from the higher self to the seeking self. Zarathustra is not a historical figure here. He is the inner teacher, the demon of Socrates, the Hermetic nous. "I teach you the Übermensch," Zarathustra declares. But notice, he does not say, "I will make you the Übermensch." The teacher can only point the way. The transformation must be accomplished by the student's own will. Like Hermes Trismegistus descending with the emerald tablet, Zarathustra brings teachings from the heights of consciousness. His message is simple yet profound. Become who you are. This is the same teaching whispered in the inner sanctum of every authentic mystery school throughout history. What if a demon crept after you into your loneliest loneliness and said to you, "This life, as you live it now and have lived it, you will have to live again, countless times." This is not a doctrine of cosmology, dear seeker. This is the ultimate test of spiritual maturity. The eternal return is the final examination of the soul's readiness for liberation. Would you embrace every moment of your existence if you knew you would have to live it exactly the same way, infinite times? Every pain, every joy, every seemingly meaningless moment? This is amor fati, love of fate, the highest attainment of the initiated consciousness. The Stoics called it premeditatio malorum. The Buddhists speak of accepting dukkha. But Nietzsche goes further. He demands not mere acceptance, but love. When you can say yes to every moment of existence, when you can embrace the totality of life without condition, you have passed through the final gate, the will to power, der Wille zur Macht. This is perhaps the most misunderstood of Nietzsche's revelations. The masses heard power and thought of domination, of force, of control. But the initiated understand. This is the elan vital of Bergson, the libido of Jung, the cosmic energy that the Hindus call Shakti. Life itself is will to power, Nietzsche writes. Not will to power over others, but the fundamental drive of existence toward greater complexity, higher consciousness, more perfect self-expression. It is the force that turns minerals into plants, plants into animals, animals into humans, and humans into something beyond human. This is the secret fire of the alchemists, the kundalini of the yogis, the divine spark of the Gnostics. When you align with this force rather than resist it, you become a co-creator in the universe's eternal process of self-overcoming. In The Birth of Tragedy, Nietzsche revealed the secret war between two gods, Apollo and Dionysus. Apollo represents order, reason, the beautiful dream of civilization. But Dionysus is the intoxicating truth, the divine madness, the ecstatic dissolution of boundaries. One must have chaos within oneself to give birth to a dancing star, Nietzsche proclaimed. This is the teaching of all mystical traditions. Before there can be true creation, there must be holy destruction. Before the new self can be born, the old self must die. Dionysus is not mere hedonism. He is the god of transformation, the patron of mystics and madmen alike. When Nietzsche signed his final letters Dionysus, he was not declaring insanity, he was announcing his apotheosis, his union with the divine principle of eternal becoming. And now we come to the final mystery, the Übermensch, the overhuman, the being who has transcended the limitations of ordinary consciousness. This is not a biological evolution, but a psychological metamorphosis, not a master race, but a master state of being. All beings so far have created something beyond themselves, Zarathustra teaches. The mineral kingdom created the plant kingdom. The plant kingdom created the animal kingdom. The animal kingdom created the human kingdom. And now humanity must create something beyond itself. But here is the profound secret that Nietzsche encoded in his teachings. The Übermensch is not a future possibility. It is a present reality for those who have completed the initiatory journey. It is what you become when you have integrated all 7 seals, when you have died to the old self and been reborn as a conscious creator. The Übermensch is the pneumatikos of the Gnostics, the Jivan Mukta of the Vedantists, the Homme Noble of the Hermeticists. It is the human being who has remembered their divine nature and learned to embody it in flesh. Now you begin to see the hidden pattern, don't you? Nietzsche was not inventing new ideas. He was translating ancient wisdom into the language of modernity. His hammer was not destroying the sacred, but clearing away the debris that had accumulated around it. The Eleusinian mysteries promised death and rebirth through sacred drama. Nietzsche's philosophy enacts the same transformation through intellectual initiation. The Hermetic tradition taught as above, so below. Nietzsche shows us that we must become the above to transform the below. The Gnostics spoke of the Christos principle, the awakened consciousness within every human being. Nietzsche calls the same awakening the Übermensch. Different symbols, same mystery. Different languages, same liberation. For those with eyes to see, his entire corpus is a complete course in spiritual transformation. Diagnosis in the gay science, preparation in human all too human, initiation in thus spoke Zarathustra, integration in beyond good and evil, and mastery in the Antichrist. And so, dear seeker, we come to the end of this particular journey, but also to the beginning of your own. For you would not be here listening to these words if some part of you had not already begun the great work of transformation. You are standing where Nietzsche once stood, at the crossroads between the human and the superhuman, between the known and the unknowable, between what you have been and what you might become. The death of God was never about destroying the divine. It was about clearing the way for you to discover your own divinity. The abyss you fear is actually the womb of your rebirth. The will to power that frightens others is the very force that will carry you beyond the limitations of ordinary consciousness. You are not just reading philosophy, you are receiving a transmission. You are not just learning ideas, you are awakening from the dream of separation. The Übermensch is not some distant goal, it is what you are becoming, moment by moment, choice by choice, breath by breath. Zarathustra's teachings were never meant for the masses. They were whispered to the few who carry the seed of transformation within their souls. And if you have followed this journey to its end, you are one of the few. The ancient mysteries have always taught that reality has multiple levels, and that most humans live only on the surface. But you who seek, you who question, you who dare to peer behind the veil, you are being called to the depths. Continue walking the path, beloved seeker. The mysteries reveal themselves not all at once, but layer by layer, veil by veil, initiation by initiation. Until we meet again in the space between worlds, I leave you with this reminder from the deepest chambers of the Mysterium Philosophicum. And remember, not all eyes that are open truly see.